The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story, just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie. Andrew Burnap, great dude. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Rachel Zegler just faced the ultimate Hollywood horror, sitting in a nearly empty theater watching her own movie flop in real time, and not even Discount Tuesday could save it. Disney's woke Snow White remake didn't just bomb. It completely vanished into oblivion, leaving Zegler, who's only 23, and a handful of her ride-or-die friends as some of the only souls brave enough to witness the wreckage firsthand. For an actress once hailed as Hollywood's next big thing, this was a brutal wake-up call that no one saw coming. Now the box office numbers are screaming the truth. On March 25th, 2025, barely a soul showed up. It all started when Rachel dragged along her loyal crew, Ilda Mason, Jorge Mason, Remy, and Maria Isabel de Mason, to endure what looked more like a ghost town screening than a blockbuster premiere. Thanks to Ilda's Instagram stories, we all got a front row seat to the cringe. The theater was nearly deserted, and when Ilda screamed out Rachel's name as it flashed on the screen, Rachel responded with an awkward laugh and half-hearted cheers, as if trying to convince herself that she was still a star. It wasn't clear if they had rented the entire theater or if the empty seats were just the brutal reality of the situation, but the vibe was unmistakable. The group even joined a viral trend by approaching a Regal employee and asking, "2 tickets, please." When he innocently asked, "For which movie?" the camera panned to them clutching Snow White-themed popcorn buckets and souvenir cups, looking completely baffled.
Please?
For which movie?
It was all so painfully ironic. And before we get too deep into the drama, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Prestige Stories. Trust me, you won't want to miss any of this juicy celebrity chaos. The numbers are as grim as they come. Only $3.5 million in Thursday previews and a dismal $43 million opening weekend. Compared to The Little Mermaid remake's $95 million debut, Snow White is in a league of its own. A disaster so epic it's practically breaking records for the worst. Even Dumbo, with a much smaller budget, managed to put in a better showing. This remake cost over $250 million to make, not even counting the insane marketing spend, and now theaters are emptier than ever. Social media is flooded with images of desolate seating charts and lonely moviegoers, sparking memes that are so hilarious you might just have to share them. Some folks are even joking about starting a GoFundMe to help Disney recoup their losses. And if you're loving this inside scoop, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Prestige Stories, drop your wildest comments below, and tell us which part of this catastrophe made you shake your head in disbelief. Adding insult to injury, an old clip of Rachel Zegler has resurfaced where she boldly declared that people would line up to see her films. Now, instead of excited crowds, all we're left with are digital receipts and empty theaters. In that clip, she passionately claimed that despite her flaws and cracks, fans would always flock to her work, even comparing it to the winged victory at the Louvre, an icon that remains admired despite being in pieces. Fast forward to now, and that speech is the punchline to a cosmic joke. The only lines forming are online, with critics and fans alike roasting her for overpromising and underdelivering. One user bluntly said, "Welcome back to reality, princess. Snow White was a total flop." And if you can't get enough of this drama, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Prestige Stories. Your comments are the spark that keeps this fire burning. But the drama isn't confined to box office numbers. Rumors are swirling that even her own co-star Andrew Burnap is pointing fingers, blaming her for the film's epic downfall. The behind-the-scenes tea is juicier than the film itself, so buckle up as we dive into how Rachel Zegler went from being Disney's darling to Hollywood's black sheep. Word on the street is that Zegler's offhand comments trashing the original 1937 classic left Disney execs uneasy from the start, but instead of reining her in, they let her run wild. Then came her infamous appearance at Disney's D23 event. She was all smiles and charm until she dropped a bombshell political statement that sent shockwaves through the studio. Suddenly, their $270 million fairy tale had morphed into a full-blown political storm, and damage control became the only option. If you're hooked on this scandalous saga, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to Prestige Stories. Comment below with your hottest take on whether her political rants cross the line. And if you thought that was the end of the story, think again. Rumor has it that Zegler's relationship with her co-star Gal Gadot has taken an even darker turn. Sources say that tensions were brewing behind the glossy marketing photos. Zegler allegedly threw shade at Gadot on social media by calling her a professional pageant queen, a comment that many interpreted as a deliberate dig. This wasn't just drama for drama's sake. Gadot, a respected figure with a military background, ended up receiving threats, forcing Disney to invest in extra security for her. Imagine that. A film meant to be a family-friendly reimagining now serving as the battleground for personal feuds and political rants. And if you're as fascinated by this celebrity news as we are, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Prestige Stories. Share your thoughts on whether Zegler's feud with Gadot is the final nail in her career's coffin. Financially, this flop is a train wreck. With a staggering budget of over $250 million and a box office performance that's dropped 66% week-on-week by the second weekend, the film has cemented its place as one of Disney's worst live-action failures ever. Critics are calling it one of the lowest-rated films on IMDb, with scores plunging to an eye-watering 1.5 out of 10. Audiences are so disappointed that some have taken to posting screenshots of empty theaters and unsold tickets online, turning the entire experience into meme gold. If you can't get enough of these wild stats, be sure to like and subscribe to Prestige Stories. Drop your comments below and tell us if you think this is the worst flop in Disney history. The social media fallout has been relentless. As the numbers plummeted, an old clip of Zegler boasting about her star power resurfaced, and the internet had a field day. Every time someone mentioned that she once promised crowds would line up, a new meme popped up and critics piled on, mocking her for alienating the very fans who once adored her. Some even say that her own promotional tour turned into a public relations disaster when she was forced to attend a screening alone. Captured on Instagram by one of her friends, the image of an empty theater became the ultimate symbol of her failed comeback. And if this drama has you gasping for more, make sure to subscribe to Prestige Stories. Your comment might just be featured in our next breakdown. Amidst all this, word on the street is that Zegler might even be suing Disney for wrongful termination and discrimination, claiming she's been unfairly pushed out of the spotlight due to all the controversies. Before the movie even dropped, she'd been talking about reimagining the role by stripping away the traditional love story and tossing out the prince, a move that many felt disrespected the legacy of the original 1937 film. Even her fellow cast member, Andrew Burnap, once excited to share the screen with her, has reportedly grown disillusioned, saying that the constant drama and her dismissive attitude have destroyed what could have been a magical collaboration. If you're blown away by this scandal, smash that like button and subscribe to Prestige Stories. Let us know in the comments if you think her legal battle could change the course of her career. Zegler's comments about the film's romantic elements only added fuel to the fire. In one notorious interview with Extra TV, she described the original Snow White's love interest as a guy who literally stalks her, claiming that the new approach was going to be entirely different. While some hailed this as a bold reimagining, many fans were incensed, arguing that if you hate the story so much, why even take the role? Critics slammed her for deconstructing a classic that's been cherished for nearly a century, calling it nothing short of a betrayal of Walt Disney's legacy. One fan on X bluntly said, "If you can't respect a timeless fairy tale, then don't be in Hollywood." And if you agree that this kind of commentary is too much, make sure to like and subscribe to Prestige Stories. Your comment could spark the next big debate. Then there's the dwarf controversy. When actor Peter Dinklage criticized Disney for their handling of the classic dwarfs, saying that replacing them with CGI or magical creatures was a slap in the face to those iconic roles, Zegler's remarks and the studio's reaction only deepened the divide. Fans were outraged that potential roles for little-person actors were erased in favor of a supposedly progressive fix that ended up being both insensitive and lazy. The backlash was so severe that Disney had to promise to rethink their approach after consulting with the dwarfism community. But the damage was already done. If you're shocked as we are by this double standard, please like, subscribe to Prestige Stories, and drop a comment below. Tell us if you think Disney screwed up this part of the remake beyond repair. As if all this weren't enough, the political firestorm Zegler ignited added another layer of chaos. After the presidential election, she posted a bombastic Instagram rant that said, "May Trump's supporters never know peace," which immediately sent half the potential audience into a tailspin. That single sentence alone fueled boycotts and widespread outrage, with many arguing that an actress starring in a family-friendly film shouldn't be using her platform to push divisive political messages. Disney's producers scrambled to contain the fallout. Producer Mark Platt even had to fly out multiple times to plead with her to tone down her social media posts. If you're into celebrity drama and can't resist a spicy political twist, make sure to subscribe to Prestige Stories and comment below with your hot takes on whether she went too far. In the midst of this pandemonium, Zegler's relationship with co-star Gal Gadot has also become a headline. Initially seen as a promising duo, the two ended up clashing both on and off the set. Zegler reportedly took to social media to call Gadot a professional pageant queen, a comment that sparked its own wave of backlash and further strained their relationship. With Gadot's background as a decorated Israeli veteran and a mother of four, her fans weren't having any of this drama. Insiders say that tensions have only escalated, forcing Disney to boost Gadot's security and downplay their joint appearances. The feud has become one of the juiciest parts of this scandal. And if you're loving every minute of this celebrity clash, hit that like button, subscribe to Prestige Stories, and tell us in the comments, whose side are you on, Zegler or Gadot? Now, after a disastrous opening and a series of explosive controversies, Snow White has not only become a massive box office bomb, but also a cautionary tale in Hollywood. With empty theaters, a staggering 66% week-on-week drop in ticket sales by its second weekend, and an IMDb rating that's plummeted to a disgraceful 1.5 out of 10, this film is a monument to mismanagement and miscommunication. Critics are calling it one of the worst live-action Disney remakes ever, and the public seems to agree. If you're shocked by these numbers and can't believe how far this fiasco has gone, please like, subscribe to Prestige Stories, and drop your most savage comment below. Let's get this conversation going. Ultimately, it all comes down to a massive failure of respect for the legacy of a timeless 1937 classic, for the audience that grew up loving that fairy tale, and for the very essence of what Disney used to stand for. Rachel Zegler, once seen as the shining star of a new era, now finds herself at the center of a relentless media firestorm, with rumors swirling that she might even be suing Disney for wrongful termination and discrimination. Her inability to hold her tongue, to balance her political rants with a little humility, might have just cost her the career that everyone once predicted would be nothing short of legendary. And while Disney scrambles to salvage what little remains of its reputation, one thing is crystal clear. If you're going to reimagine a beloved classic, you can't just tear it down and hope the new version will magically win over a loyal audience.
So, what do you all think?
Can Rachel Zegler recover from this epic meltdown, or is this the end of her Hollywood fairy tale? And what about Disney? Will they learn from this colossal misstep or keep repeating the same mistakes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because we at Prestige Stories are dying to know your take on this insane saga. And if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to Prestige Stories for more no-holds-barred celebrity news that you just can't resist. Stay tuned, and let's see if Hollywood can ever reclaim its magic after this utter disaster.